Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am W2Best and I make videos about tech, travel and inspiration. And today we are gonna take a look at this one, the Kobo Clara HD E-Reader. I have been using it for about 6 months now, so I think I have a pretty good idea of the advantages and disadvantages of using the product on a regular basis. Let's jump right into the review. First, let's have a look at the size and weight of this e-reader, because the size was actually the main reason why I decided to buy it. Before I had this one, I bought and reviewed the Kobo Aura 1. That one is now discontinued from the Kobo lineup, so you can't get it anymore. But when I used it, I thought it was a slight bit too big to be able to comfortably carry around it and have it in my pocket or bring it in my jacket whenever I was going somewhere. So I kind of needed to have a bag to be able to bring that one along. And therefore I decided to switch into this one, the Kobo Clara HD. This e-reader is about 16 centimeters times 11 centimeters times 0.8 centimeters. And it weighs 166 grams. This is a size comparison with my Samsung Galaxy S8 phone. Personally though, when you want to compare it in size, I think it makes more sense to compare it with the size of the things that this thing actually replaces. So in my case, I carried this e-reader along instead of carrying multiple books along. And when you start looking at a comparison with the size of books, this becomes really interesting. If you take a small book like this one, the e-reader is still way smaller than this book alone. And that's just one single book. When you take a bigger book like this one, it becomes almost laughable how small this e-reader is. And still, it can hold up to a few thousand books on the 8 gigabytes of internal memory, depending on the size of the books that you put on it, obviously. It's a very plain e-reader, as you can see, and the only thing you have available when it comes to connections and buttons are the power button and the USB connection in the bottom. The battery life of this device is absolutely fantastic, and that's one of the main reasons why you want to use an e-reader instead of reading on your mobile phone or computer. I'm usually charging it once every second or third week if I'm using it a lot, and once every month if I'm not using it that much. The way I'm using the e-reader is usually with this case. So this is not the original case, but a special case that I bought from some Swedish store. I will try to find it and put a link in the description below, together with the links to where you can buy the Kobo Clara HD. But this just snaps into place like that. And then, once you have it there, it feels a little bit more like holding a regular book than when you just have one unit and one hand. And also, when you close it, it automatically turns the e-reader off. And when you open it, it turns the e-reader on to the latest page that you were viewing. It is indeed a pretty small e-reader, and this is really quite fine as long as you're reading books in ePub format, because then you can go in and adjust the size. So to do that, you just go to the text settings that you find up here. Then you get to decide what font you want, and the size you want, the spacing, margins, and justification. If I change the size, you can see that it immediately turns the whole book into this larger size, and the screen size should really not be a problem when you're sticking to this kind of book. But when you are reading a book that is in PDF format, then you don't have the option to make the text bigger or smaller, so therefore you're gonna have to stick with the standard size of the text, or you might do this, which will zoom in slightly. As you can see here, I'm trying to find the right zoom to be able to fill out the page as good as possible. And I'm gonna try and place it in the middle. Now I have zoomed to 112%, so the text is a little bit bigger. And then when I change page, I actually go straight to the next page. So this is a little bit of a hassle, and it's not as seamless as when you're using it with ePub. Another thing that I really like about the e-reader is the fact that you have background light, and you adjust it by sliding on the left hand side here. So as you can see, when I slide it to maximum, it's a pretty decent amount of light. And even when you're out in daylight, the combination of this e-reader screen and the background light is such a good feature to be able to read in any kind of setting. Also, if you, for example, read before you go to bed, this is perfect. You just set this down to one of the lowest settings, and then there's almost no light in the room, and you don't affect your eyes that much as if you would use a lamp or if you would read on your phone, for example. When you are in My Books, you can just flip between the pages like this. And I like the interface. It does what it should, and it doesn't do much else than that. Compared to some of the other devices from Kobo, this is not a waterproof device. I was having the waterproof device Kobo Aura 1 before, and I can tell you that waterproof in this kind of reader is not such a big deal, because when you're using it in water or when it gets sprayed with water, the reflections on the driplets of water that gets onto the screen makes it super hard to actually read and follow along in the contents of the book. So I'm quite happy to not have the waterproof version, because whenever I tried to use it, it wouldn't really work for me. One of the huge advantages of Kobo over the Kindle is that with this one, you can actually borrow books at your local library and then download them and put them straight onto the e-reader. With the Swedish libraries, you can't download it straight in the internet browser here, so you have to do it on your computer and then use Adobe Digital Editions to transfer the file onto the e-reader using the USB cable. But this is a really smooth process, and for the fact that you can read free ebooks and use several ebooks at the time without paying for it, I just find this to be an absolutely amazing service that is available, and it makes the Kindle not a very interesting device compared to this one. I have truly enjoyed using this product over the last 6 months, and except these issues that I mentioned with how it handles PDF resizing, I think this is a really good e-reader, and I can recommend it with all the different parts of it. The screen is super nice, it does exactly what it's supposed to do, the battery life is great and it lasts forever, you never even have to think about when you're gonna recharge it again. And also, the size is just the right size for it to be pocketable, so you can just put it in your regular pockets and bring it wherever you want it to go with you. If you have any other questions about this Kobo Clara HD or any comments about the product, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to find this e-reader or the case, I will put links in the description below so you can find them as easy as possible, and I will try to make sure that I put the links to where you can find them as cheap as possible. I am W2Best, I make videos about tech, travel and inspiration, and I wish you a really nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!